This is the EdExcel GCSE 9-1 Maths Paper 1 from the Foundation tier, and it's from the November 2018 series. Question number 1. We have to write the following numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest number. Well, we've got a list of numbers here: 0.4, 0.02, 0.37, 0.152 and 0.2. What we can do is write each of these numbers to 3 decimal places, because the 0.152 is written to 3 decimal places, and then we can compare. So we've got 0.400, then we've got 0.020, then we've got 0.370, and then we've got 0.200. And now if we compare all of them, we can see the smallest one is the 0.020, followed by the 0.152, followed by the 0.200, followed by the 0.370, followed by the 0.400. So we've got 0.02, then we've got 0.152, then we've got 0.2, then we've got 0.37, and then we've got 0.4. Here are the list of numbers in order of size. Question number 2, we have to write 0.6 as a percentage. Well, to go from a decimal to a percentage, we would multiply by 100, and percentage to a decimal we would divide by 100. And so 0.6, if I multiply that by 100, I get 60. We have 60%. Question number 3. Here is a list of numbers: 3, 5, 7, 12, 15, 18, and 20, and from the list we have to write down a factor of 10. First of all, the factors of 10, we have 1, 10, 2, and 5. So which of these numbers appears in this list? Clearly, that's 5. 5 is a factor of 10. Question number 4, we have to write 7,829 to the nearest 1,000. Well, if we have a number line, and if we're rounding to the nearest 1,000, that means the number can lie in between 7,000 and 8,000. And our halfway point is 7,500. Now, if our number is in between 7,500 and 8,000, we would round up to the 8,000. Now, our number is 7,829. And so what we would have to do then is round up to the 8,000. Question number 5. For part A, we have to work out 3 times 5 plus 7. Well, considering the order of operations, we would have to do the multiplication first. 3 times 5 is 15, and then we are adding to this 7. The result is 22. For part B, we have to work out 2 cubed. 2 cubed is the same as multiplying 2 by itself 3 times, and what we will end up with is 8. For part C, we have to write brackets in this statement to make it correct. Well, we've got 7 times 2 plus 3 equals 35. Well, I can see I've got a 7, I've got a times, and I've got 35. And I know that 7 times 5 is 35. But you will also find that 5 can be made up by adding the 2 and the 3 together. We have 7 times, and then in brackets 2 plus 3, which is 35. Question number 6. Sue has 2 cats. Each cat eats 1/4 of a tin of cat food each day. Sue buys 8 tins of cat food. Has Sue bought enough cat food to feed her 2 cats for 14 days? You must show how you get your answer. So, what we have is 2 cats, and each cat eats 1/4 of a tin of cat food each day. So if I multiply by 1/4, then I multiply by 14 because they're eating for 14 days. And if I work this out, I have a half times by 14, which is 7. What does this 7 represent? It represents the total tins consumed by both cats. And because this 7 is less than 8, which is the amount of tins she buys, we can therefore conclude that she has enough. Question number 7. There are only apple trees, cherry trees, pear trees and plum trees in an orchard. The pictogram shows information about the number of apple trees, cherry trees and pear trees in the orchard. We've got this key. A full square represents 4 trees. There's a total of 30 trees in the orchard. We have to complete the pictogram. Well, let's find out how many apple we have. 4 plus 4 plus 4, that's 12. For cherry, we've got 4 plus 1, which is 5. For pear, we've got 4 plus 2, which is 6. And therefore, for plum, we would have 30. We've got 30 in total. Take away the 12 for apple, take away the 5 for cherry, take away the 6 for pear. It turns out we get 7 for plum. So now we need to represent 7 using this key. Here is the information represented for plum. Question number 8. We have a graph over here, and we've got the point A which is plotted, and we have to write down the coordinates of the point A for part A. Well, we have -2, -1. So we have -2, -1 for the coordinates of A. For part B, on the grid we have to mark with a cross the point 2, 3 and label the point B. So we have 2, 3, that goes here. We label this B. For part C, on the grid we have to draw the line with equation x equals -4. Well, we want over here a vertical line, it passes through the point x equals -4. And so here we have x equals -4. Each point on this line has an x coordinate of -4. Question number 9. We have g which is 9 and h which is 4. We have to work out the value of 2g plus 3h. With g equaling 9 and h equaling 4, 2g plus 3h that will equal 2 multiplied by 9 plus 3 multiplied by 4. And it turns out here we get 18 plus 12, which is equal to 30. Question number 10. We have to write down two prime numbers that have a sum of 32. Well, what is the definition of a prime number? A prime number is a number which has 1 and itself only as factors. So let's write down some prime numbers. For prime numbers, well, 2, that's a prime number, it's the only even prime number. Then we have 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, and 31. These are prime numbers. So what we want is something which adds to give 32 with these numbers. Well, we could have the 3 and the 29. We could also have the 13 and the 19. So we could have 3 and the 29, which add together to give 32. Question number 11. Here are some fractions. One of these fractions is not equivalent to 3/4. Which fraction? Well, we have to see which fraction does not simplify to 3/4. And straight away, I can see that will be 10 over 16. Because if I divide the top and bottom by 2, I get 5/8. I cannot simplify 5/8 any further. 5/8 does not equal 3/4. So the fraction which doesn't equal 3/4, we've got 10/16. For part B of the question, we have to work out 1/12 plus 5/6. What we can do here is write the 5/6, so we've got a denominator of 12. And the reason for that is because if we have the same denominator, we can quite simply add the numerators. And so 5/6 in terms of twelfths, that's going to be 10/12. So what we are working out is 1/12 plus 10/12, and it turns out then that is the same as 1 plus 12, rather 1 plus 10 on the top and 12 on the bottom. We get 11/12. So we have 11/12. Question number 12. Tom uses his lorry to deliver bricks. You can use this graph to find the delivery cost for different distances. So we've got the distance in miles and the delivery cost in pounds. So for each delivery, there is a fixed charge plus a charge for the distance. How much is the fixed charge? Well, the fixed charge, when we travel 0 for our distance, what is the cost? Well, that will be 10. So the fixed charge would equal 10. For part B of the question, Tom makes 2 deliveries of bricks. The distance of one delivery is 20 miles more than the distance of the other delivery. We have to work out the difference between the 2 delivery costs. Well, if the distance of one delivery is 20 miles more than the distance of the other delivery, what will the distance for 20 miles be? Question number 13. Asmal, Ryan and Kim each played a game. Asmal's score was 4 times Ryan's score. Kim's score was half of Asmal's score, and we have to write down the ratio of Asmal's score to Ryan's score to Kim's score. First of all, if we let Ryan's score equal x, Asmal's score will equal 4x because his score is 4 times Ryan's. And Kim's score is 2x because her score is half of Asmal's, half of 4x is 2x. And what we need to do then is find the ratio of A to R to K. So the ratio A to R, rather the ratio of Asmal to Ryan to Kim, that will equal 4x to x to 2x, which simplifies to 4 to 1 to 2. So the ratio is 4 to 1 to 2. Question number 14. The diagram shows a quadrilateral ABCD with each of its sides extended. AB is equal to AD, and we have to show that ABCD is a kite. Give a reason for each stage of your working. Well, we've got this angle 100, this angle 75, and this angle 50. What we can do is find out some missing angles. For example, we can find out what this angle here is. The angle ADC, that's equal to 180 subtract the 75, which is 105. So we've got 105 degrees here, and the reason for that is angles on a straight line sum to 180. So angles on a straight line sum to 180 degrees. We can also find out what this angle here is. This will equal the 50 degrees because they are vertically opposite angles. So we have vertically opposite angles which are equal, and now what we can do is find out what this angle here is equal to, recognizing that the sum of the angles in a quadrilateral sum to 360. So the angle ABC that's equal to 360 subtract the 100, subtract the 105, subtract the 50, And if we work this out, we get 105 degrees. So this angle here is 105 degrees. The reason for that, angles in a quadrilateral sum to 360 degrees. Now, the reason we have a chi is we've got the angle ADC and the angle ABC equal. So as the angle ABC equals the angle ADC, which is 105, and we also have the length AB equaling AD, we can therefore conclude ABCD is a kite. Question number 15. Shahid is going to use these instructions to make a fizzy drink. He makes 5 parts of orange juice with 2 parts of lemonade. Shahid thinks that he has 300 milliliters of orange juice and 200 milliliters of lemonade. If Shahid is correct, what is the greatest amount of fizzy drink he can make? So we've got this ratio, orange to lemonade, being 5 to 2. Now, Shahid has 300 milliliters of orange juice, and so the amount of lemonade he requires, if I multiply by 6, that means we require 120 milliliters of lemonade. He hasn't used all of his lemonade up. And so, what's the greatest amount of fizzy drink he can make? Well, that will be 300 plus the 120, which is 420 milliliters. Now, Shahid has 300 milliliters of orange juice, but he only has 160 milliliters of lemonade. Does this affect the greatest amount of fizzy drink he can make? Well, what we have seen is we require 120 milliliters of lemonade. So we require 120 milliliters of lemonade. And so therefore, because this amount is less than 160 milliliters, we can therefore conclude he still has enough lemonade, and therefore there is no effect. Question number 16. Here are 2 rectangles. We've got this rectangle dimensions 8 centimeters, 6 centimeters. And here we've got 12 centimeters and 10 centimeters. Jim says the 2 rectangles are similar because 8 plus 4 is equal to 12 and 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. Is Jim correct? Explain your answer. Well, what we have to do here is consider the length scale factors. So if I consider this side with its corresponding side here, the scale factor in that case will be 12 over 8, which is equal to 3 over 2. And if I consider this side with this side, the scale factor in that case will be 10 over 6, which is 5 over 3. And what we can see here then is the length scale factors are not the same. So therefore, the triangles are not similar, and therefore Jim is incorrect. Question number 17. 80 people are asked if they like coffee. 48 of these people are women. 61 of the 80 people like coffee. 8 of the men do not like coffee. For part A, we have to use this information to complete the frequency tree. So, we have 80 people in total, and then we are told 48 of these people are women. So that means we have 48 women. Then it says 61 of the 80 people like coffee. So that means there's 80 people in total and 61 of them like coffee. So the total for liking coffee, that's equal to 61. And then it says 8 of the men do not like coffee, so 8 of the men do not like coffee. 8 goes here. So what we need to do is fill in the missing boxes. So the total number of men, 80 take away 48, that's 32. So we've got 32 men in total. And if 8 do not like coffee, that means 24 like coffee. Now, the total number of people who like coffee equals 61. So 61 take away 24 is 37. So we've got 37 who like coffee. And the number of people who do not like coffee, well, if I've got 48 women in total, 37 of them like coffee, which means 11 of them do not like coffee. Then, one of the people who likes coffee is chosen at random. We have to find the probability that this is a woman. Well, we've got here 37. So this is a woman who likes coffee. And we've got 80 people in total. And sorry, we've got over here 61 of them would like coffee. So out of 61, 37 of them like coffee. Question number 18. Food Mart and John's store sell boxes of the same type of breakfast cereal. Each shop has a special offer. So with Food Mart, 400 grams, 20% off the normal price of £5. And John's store, 400 grams plus 30% extra, £5. Which box of cereal is better value for money? You must show how you get your working. Well, let's consider Food Mart. What we have is 400 grams and we have 20% off the normal price. So that means that if I work out the 20% off the normal price of £5, well, 20% is equal to £1, and therefore 20% off will equal £4. £5 take away £1 is £4. So that tells us that 400 grams is equal to £4. So what we can do is find out the price of 100 grams. That will equal £1. So 100 grams is equal to £1. Now, we are told with John's store we get 400 grams plus 30% extra. Well, if I work out what 10% is, 10% is equal to 40, and so therefore 30% is equal to 120. So therefore, if we have 30% extra, that means 130% is equal to £160. Rather, 130 is equal to 400 plus 120, which is 520. So, we have John's store, 520 grams is equal to £5. So what we can do is find out how much we get for £1. And if I divide through by 5, that tells me I get 104 grams for £1. So which box of cereal gives better value for money? We therefore have John's store. Question number 19. We have to rotate shape A 180 degrees about the point 10. Well, here is the point 10. And if we grab tracing paper, and if we trace over shape A, like so, and if we mark on our center of rotation, we want to rotate by 180 degrees. Now the way I like to do this, I like to create a north line, and that will help keep track of where I need to rotate to. So if we keep our pencil on the center and then rotate the tracing paper, here we have rotated it 90 degrees, and you can see that from where the arrow is pointing, and then rotating it once again, the shape should end up over here. And so if we show that, here is where our shape will end up. We have rotated shape A 180 degrees about the point 10. The resulting shape is this shape here. Question number 20. We have to work out the value of 3 to the 7 times 3 to the negative 2 over 3 cubed. Well, on the top, because we have the same base and we are multiplying, we would have to add the powers. That leaves us with 3 to the 7 plus negative 2. And on the bottom, we've got 3 cubed. So 3 to the power of 7 plus minus 2, that's 3 to the 5. And then I'm dividing this by 3 to the power of 3. And now because I've got the same base and I'm dividing, I subtract the powers. So I have 3 to the power of 5, subtract 3. In other words, 3 to the power of 2. And it turns out we get 9. For question 21, v squared is equal to u squared plus 2as, and we are given that u is 12, a is negative 3, and s is 18, and we have to work out the value of v. Well, what we have to do is substitute these values into our formula. And if we do that, we've got v squared equals u, which is 12, and then squared plus 2 times by a, which is negative 3, times by s, which is 18, and if we work this out, we've got v squared equaling 144 subtract 108. So v squared is 36. And therefore, we can conclude v is equal to the square root of 36. So we get v equals plus minus 6. Then for part B, we have to make s the subject of v squared equals u squared plus 2as. Well, we've got v squared equals u squared plus 2as. And if we subtract u squared from both sides, we have 2as equals v squared subtract u squared. And now if we divide both sides by 2as, rather, if we divide both sides by 2a, then we are left with s equals v squared subtract u squared over 2a. So I've got v squared subtract u squared over 2a equals s. Question number 22. A bonus of £2,100 is shared by 10 people who work for a company. 40% of the bonus is shared equally between 3 managers. The rest of the bonus is shared equally between 7 salesmen. One of the salesmen says, if the bonus is shared equally between all 10 people, I will get 25% more money. Is the salesman correct? You must show how you get your answer. First of all, if 40% of the bonus is shared equally between the 3 managers, that means 60% is shared between the 7 salesmen. So what we can do is calculate 60% of the 2,100. So let's find out how much all 7 salesmen get. Well, what we need to do is calculate 60% of 2,100. First of all, if we calculate what 10% is, 10% is 210. And so therefore 60% multiplying by 6, that's equal to 1,260. And therefore 60% of 2,100 is 1,260. So that's how much all 7 salesmen get. Now, one salesman would therefore get £1,260 divided by 7, which is £180. So that's how much one salesman gets. Now what we can do is find out how much money they will get if they all shared the money equally. So if they share the money equally, we've got 2,100 divided by 10, there's 10 of them, they get £210 each. So let's calculate the percentage difference and see if that equals 25%. So, if we work out the percentage difference, we have 210 subtract 180 divided by 180, and then we're going to multiply this by 100. So, we have 30 over 100, rather 180 times 100, so we have 1/6 times 100. Which is 16.6 recurring %. And this does not equal the 25%. And therefore, the salesman is incorrect. Question number 23. It would take 120 minutes to fill a swimming pool using water from 5 taps, and we have to find out how many minutes it will take to fill the pool if only 3 of the taps are used. So it takes 120 minutes to fill the pool, and this is using 5 taps. And what we want to do in this question is find out how long it will take if we only use 3 taps. Well, what we can do is find out how long it will take with 1 tap and then how long it will take with 3 taps. Now, if with 5 taps it takes 120 minutes, with 120 minutes, that's 5 taps, so 1 tap will take 5 times longer, so that will be 600 minutes. And with 3 taps, it will take 3 times less, so that will be 200 minutes. It will take 200 minutes to fill 3 taps. To fill with 3 taps, rather. And then for part B, we have to state one assumption we made. Well, we assume that all the taps have the same flow rate. Question 24. A plane travels at a speed of 213 miles per hour. For part A, we have to work out an estimate for the number of seconds the plane takes to travel 1 mile. Well, we've got speed and we've also got a distance, so we can find the time by doing the distance divided by the speed. Now here, we've got miles per hour and we want to find out how many seconds. So we need to convert some units. We've got hours, minutes, and seconds. Hours to minutes, we times by 60. Minutes to seconds, we times by 60. Seconds to minutes, we divide by 60. Minutes to hours, we also divide by 60. So therefore, for the time, we have 1 mile divided by the speed, 213 miles per hour. So, if I work this out, clearly we get we get here 1 over 213 hours. So what we need to do is convert this into seconds. So the way we convert it into seconds is to multiply by 60 and then 60 again. So if I've got 1 over 213, we can times by 60 and then times by 60 again, and this will convert it into seconds. So what we end up with is 1 times 3600, which is just 3600, and then we're dividing this by 213. This is how many seconds it takes, and we need to find an estimate for this value. Well, we can round down the 213 to 200. So we have 3600 divided by 200 seconds, and it turns out this is equal to 18 seconds. Then for part B, is the answer to part A an underestimate or an overestimate? Well, because we are rounding the 213 down to 200, you can see we have an overestimate. Question number 25. We have to solve these simultaneous equations. 5x plus y equals 21 and x minus 3y equals 9. So we've got this first equation, we'll call it 1, and the second equation, we'll call it 2. Now, what we can do, ignoring the signs, is get the y's the same. Here we've got a 1y and here we've got 3y, and so what we can do is multiply equation 1 by 3. And the result of doing that, 5x times 3 is 15x, y times 3 is 3y, 21 times 3 is 63. We've got 15x plus 3y equals 63. I'll call this equation 3. And so what we can do is recognize, because we have the same coefficient of y and opposite signs, we can add equation 2 and 3 together. So we have equation 2 plus equation 3. X plus 15x is 16x. 9 plus 63 is 72. And now, if we divide both sides by 16, what we will be left with is x equals 72 over 16, which is 4.5. Now, when x is equal to 4.5, we can find out what y is. Let's substitute into equation 2. So, we have 4.5 minus 3y equals 9. 3y is equal to 4.5, and if I divide both sides by 3, what we will be left with is y equals 4.5 divided by 3, which is 1.5. So we have x equals 4.5 and y equals 1.5. Question number 26. The diagram shows a square ABCD with sides of length 20 centimeters. It also shows a semicircle and an arc of a circle. That's what we see here. And AB is the diameter of the circle, and AC is an arc of a circle with center B. We have to show that the area of the shaded region to the area of the square is equal to pi over 8. Well, what we can do first of all is find the area of the square. The area of the square will equal 20 times by 20, which is 400 centimeters squared. We can now find the area of this quarter circle, recognizing that the radius is 20. So the area of the quarter circle is equal to pi times by the radius, which is 20, then squared, and I'm going to divide by 4. So I'm left with 100 pi centimeters squared. We can now find out the area of the semicircle. So the area of the semicircle is equal to pi times by, now the radius here will be half the 20 because 20 is the diameter, so half of that is 10, which is the radius, then squared, and then we divide by 2. So it turns out we get 50 pi centimeters squared for the area of the semicircle. And now we can find out the shaded area by subtracting the area of the semicircle from this quarter circle. So the area of the shaded region is equal to 100 pi subtract 50 pi, which is 50 pi centimeters squared. And therefore, the fraction area of shaded region over area of square we've got here 50 pi divided by 400, which simplifies to pi over 8. So we have pi over 8, and that's what we wanted to show. Question number 27. Amina has 2 bags. In the first bag there are 3 red balls and 7 green balls. In the second bag there are 5 red balls and 4 green balls. Amina takes at random a ball from the first bag. She then takes at random a ball from the second bag. We have to complete the probability tree diagram. Well, the probability of selecting a red is 3/10. We've got 10 in total from the first bag. So the probability of a green will be 1 subtract 3/10, which is 7/10. Now for the second bag, probability of red is 5/9, so the probability that it's not a red will be 1 subtract 5/9, which is 4/9. Now the probability of a red will be the same. We have 5/9, and the probability of a green will be 4/9. Then we have to work out the probability that Amina takes 2 red balls. So we are looking for the probability that she takes a red followed by another red. So that probability then, so the probability of a red and then another red, that's equal to 3/10 multiplied by 5/9. Now let's see if we can simplify this. The 3 cancels with this 9 3 times, and the 5 cancels with this 10 twice. So what we are left with is a half times by a third, which is 1/6. So the probability then is equal to 1/6. Question number 28. The size of each interior angle of a regular polygon is 11 times the size of each exterior angle. We have to work out how many sides the polygon has. Well, if I let the exterior angle equal x, that means the interior angle is 11x, and that's because of this over here. And so, what do we know about the interior and exterior angles? Well, what we know is the interior angle plus the exterior angle is equal to 180, and therefore we have x plus 11x equals 180. So 12x is equal to 180, which means x is equal to 15. So this 15 degrees would correspond to the exterior angle. And therefore what we need to do is find out the number of sides. Now the number of sides is equal to 360 divided by the exterior angle. So the number of sides, we'll call it n. That's equal to 360 divided by 15, which is the exterior angle. So the number of sides we have is 24.